For my 60th birthday, I thought I would be celebrated. A cake, candles, my family singing. Instead, I was erased. Not quietly, not in private, but in front of everyone I love. My daughter-in-law raised her glass, smiled so sweet, but the words cut deep. 60 years, that is a long time. Time to think about legacy and what is left behind. People chuckled nervously. I laughed too at first, until her eyes locked on mine. Cold, sharp. And then the dagger. Mark was lost before I came along. He only grew up because of me. Now his life is finally stable. Now you can step aside. Knitting, gardening, whatever. You are not really needed anymore. The room froze. I felt heat rise in my face. All my sacrifices vanished in a toast. Decades of 2 jobs. Decades of missed sleep. Decades of lonely nights brushed off as nothing. I looked at my son, the boy I raised alone, the man I gave everything to. My eyes begged him say something. Defend me. He did not. He took her hand, pulled her close, and forced a smile. She is right, Mom. We are a team now. That was the moment. The moment my heart cracked. The moment I realized my son chose her. Not just in marriage, but over me. Over the woman who gave him life. I stood there frozen. Cake in front of me. Candles flickering. People shifting uncomfortably. My sister glaring. My friends whispering. And me. I felt like a ghost at my own birthday. All the laughter blurred. The decorations faded. The music hurt my ears. I heard only one thing. His voice cold and certain. She is right, Mom. Right about what? That my life was over. That my worth had expired. That motherhood has an expiration date. I wanted to scream, to throw the cake, to walk out forever. But my body betrayed me. I just stood there, silent, shaking, wishing it was a nightmare. But it was not. It was real. And that night on my 60th birthday, I did not just lose a party. I lost the son I thought I knew. This is the story of how humiliation broke me in half, and how dignity pieced me back together. Do not scroll, because what comes next might make you question your own family. My name is Eleanor Grace. I am 60 years old. I live in Ohio. A small house, 2 bedrooms. White siding, green shutters, and a porch swing that creaks when I sit. This house is my pride. I bought it after my husband passed away. He was 48. A heart attack took him. Sudden, brutal, unfair. Mark was only 12. That night, we clung together. Like 2 small boats tied by one rope. I promised him we would survive. And we did. I took 2 jobs. One at the diner pouring coffee for truckers. One cleaning offices at night. My hands were raw. My feet ached every day. But he never went hungry. I packed his lunches. Peanut butter sandwiches, apples, chips in a bag. I ironed his shirts. I cheered at every game. Football and fall basketball in winter. We did not have much, but we had each other. On Christmas mornings, I bought one special gift. A baseball glove, a second-hand bike, a used PlayStation from a yard sale. He never complained. He hugged me tight, said I was enough. And I believed him. He was my world, my reason to breathe. I never remarried. Not because no one asked, but because I wanted to give him everything. No stepdad, no distraction. Just me and him. Years rolled by. Mark grew tall, 6'1" by high school, broad shoulders, crooked smile. He had his father's laugh. He was handsome, and girls noticed. When college came, I worked overtime, filling envelopes with tuition checks, skipping new clothes, driving my old Chevy. He went to Ohio State, studied business. I was so proud. Every Sunday night, he called from the dorms. "Hi, Mom, I'm good. Classes are hard, but I'm trying." His voice lifted me, made the diner shifts lighter. Then one Christmas break, he brought someone home. Her name was Chloe. She was 21. Blonde hair, wide smile. Designer boots I could not afford. Pretty as a picture. At first, I was hopeful. All I wanted was for him to be happy. She hugged me tight, called me Mrs. Grace. I laughed and said, "Please call me Eleanor." That winter, we baked cookies together. Sugar flour sprinkles. I told her stories about Mark as a boy. His first bike crash. The time he broke the living room lamp with a football. She laughed politely, but there was something in her eyes, like she was watching for weaknesses. The little things started. She teased me gently. "Your recipes are old-fashioned," or "This wallpaper feels dated." Every visit, she changed something. Moved a picture frame. Brought her own blankets for the guest room. It was subtle, like being erased 1 inch at a time. I told myself not to be sensitive. Mark said, "Mom, she means well. You're reading too much." So I stayed quiet. For him. Always for him. They married young. Big wedding, downtown hotel. 400 guests. I paid for half. My savings gone. Her mother gave a speech. Long, tearful, dramatic. When it was my turn, the planner whispered, "Keep it short, we are behind." I had 60 seconds. I said my piece, then sat down with a heavy chest. It stung, but I told myself, this is love. This is marriage. Let them shine. They bought a house. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I gave them the down payment. $50,000. Every penny from my retirement account. Mark hugged me. Said he would pay me back. I told him, "No need, son. Just be happy." But slowly, things changed. Christmas came. They skipped my house. Went skiing in Colorado with her family. My birthday passed. No call, no card. A week later, they asked me to co-sign a loan for a car. I said yes, because I wanted to stay close. Because I feared losing him. I told myself it was temporary. That love wins. That family lasts. But the cracks grew wider, and I felt colder every year. Until my 60th birthday, the day she stood glass in hand and told me I was no longer needed. And he, my son, my world, agreed with her. That was the night my old life ended, and a new one began. When I think back, I see long nights. I see double shifts. I see blisters on my hands. I see a boy sleeping in the next room. I worked 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. At the diner, I carried trays heavy as stone. At the office, I scrubbed floors with bleach. The smell burned my throat. But his future mattered more. I counted every dollar. Rent, groceries, school fees. One winter, I sold my wedding ring to pay the heating bill. I told him it was fine. I told him I liked the cold. He never knew. I hid the hunger. I ate toast so he could have meatloaf. I wore old coats so he could have cleats. I saved for months to buy him a baseball bat. 30 inches Louisville Slugger. He hit his first home run with that bat. The crowd cheered. He waved at me. That smile kept me alive. Through high school, I sat in the bleachers. Rain soaked my jacket. Snow froze my gloves. I shouted until I lost my voice. I was his biggest fan. I was his whole world. At graduation, he wore the cap and gown, blue and gold tassel swinging. He hugged me taller than I ever imagined. Said we made it, Mom. I cried so hard my mascara streaked my cheeks. I thought those sacrifices meant something. That they built unbreakable love. That he would always know. But life moved on. College. Chloe. Marriage. And the little things cut me again and again. Thanksgiving used to be ours. Turkey stuffing pumpkin pie. We watched the parade on the old TV. We ate at noon. Then football until bedtime. But with Chloe, everything changed. She hosted Thanksgiving at her parents' house. Catered meals, crystal glasses, place cards on the table. She called it elegant. I called it a reminder I did not belong. Christmas was the same. She wanted Colorado. Ski trips, hot cocoa, expensive lodges with fireplaces. They stopped coming to Ohio. I sat alone with my small tree. Just me and the ornaments Mark made in kindergarten. I would sit there holding the clay angel he painted red and green. And I would whisper, "Do you remember me, son?" Birthdays were no better. When I turned 59, they forgot. Not a call. Not even a text. 1 week later, they asked me to co-sign a car loan. A shiny new SUV. I signed because saying no felt like losing him. Every time I told myself it was nothing. That love means sacrifice. That family means patience. But the cracks widened. My heart grew tired. And then the wedding. I had dreamed of that day. A proud mother front row smiling. Instead, I was rushed. Cut short. Pushed aside. Her mother spoke for 15 minutes. Tears, applause, stories about Chloe's childhood. When my turn came, the planner tapped my shoulder. 60 seconds only. I stood up. I said a few words. About Mark as a boy. About his father watching from heaven. Then I sat down. 60 seconds to sum up a lifetime. The applause was polite. I smiled, but inside something cracked. After the wedding, the distance grew. Phone calls shorter. Visits fewer. Requests for money more frequent. Down payment car loan, new patio, new furniture. Always needing. Never thanking. I kept quiet. Because quiet was the price of love. I told myself it was worth it. Until that day. My 60th birthday. A milestone. I thought it would be different. Mark called me in advance. "Mom, we will throw a party. At our house. Chloe is planning everything. She wants to show how much she appreciates you." I cried on the phone. I believed him. I believed her. I let myself hope. I bought a sapphire blue dress. Spent $70 at the salon. Got my hair styled for the first time in years. Looked in the mirror and thought maybe I am beautiful again. The day came. Sunlight poured down. I drove to their house. The one my money helped them buy. 3 bedrooms, 2-car garage. Stone front manicured lawn. I walked in. Surprise. Everyone shouted. Family, friends, neighbors, coworkers. Mark hugged me. "Happy birthday, Mom." For a moment, it felt perfect. Chloe floated over. White dress, diamonds on her wrist. "Happy birthday," she said, air kissing my cheek. "I hope you like everything." I worked so hard. The party was beautiful. Flowers' music catered food. People complimented her. How generous. How thoughtful. I smiled, but a stone sat heavy in my chest. Then the cake came. Tall, white, perfect. Candles flickering. Everyone sang. I felt tears well, until Chloe raised her glass. She looked at me, smiled wide. 60 years, wow. That is a long time. An age to think about what you leave behind. A son who was lost. A man who only grew because I pushed him. Because I made him strong. The room went silent. Her smile widened. And now she has the greatest gift. Time. So much free time. To garden knit whatever people do when they are not needed anymore. Laughter faded. Eyes turned toward me. Some pitying. Some embarrassed. I felt stripped bare. I looked at Mark, begging silently. Say something. Please. He squeezed her hand, forced a smile. She is right, Mom. We are a team now. The words cut deeper than any knife. After the party ended, I drove home alone. The night air was cold. 50 degrees in October. Leaves crunched under my shoes. My hand shook as I turned the key. The house was dark. Too quiet. I sat on the couch. The blue dress still on. Makeup smeared mascara running down my face. I stared at the wall. I waited for a call. An apology. A message from Mark. Something to tell me he had seen my pain. That he cared. That he still loved me. Hours passed. The phone stayed silent. The next day, I kept it near me. In the kitchen. On the porch swing. By my bed at night. No call. No text. No knock at the door. By the third day, the silence grew heavy. Like a blanket I could not shake off. Grief hardened into sharp anger. How could he watch and do nothing? On the fourth night, the phone finally rang. Mark's name lit the screen. My heart jumped. I grabbed it fast. Mark, I whispered. His voice was not soft. It was annoyed. Mom, Chloe is upset. I froze. Upset, I repeated. My chest tightened. She is upset. About what? She feels you ruined the party. His tone sharp like I had offended him. She said your sister attacked her. She said you walked out. She feels humiliated. I laughed bitterly. Humiliated. That word rang in my head. Mark, she stood up in front of everyone. She called me useless. She erased my life. She mocked me. And you say she is the one humiliated. You are twisting it, he sighed. You always think the worst of her. She was just trying to celebrate you. You took it wrong. You have always resisted her. You need to let go. My throat burned. So you think her words were fine. I think you are overreacting. I think you made a scene. Chloe feels disrespected. I am caught in the middle. I cannot take it anymore. His voice dropped lower. Mom, we talked about it. We need an apology. I blinked hard. An apology, I repeated. My voice a whisper. Yes, he said firmly. You need to call Chloe. Apologize for hurting her feelings. Apologize for your sister's behavior. Apologize for leaving early. Make things right. My hand trembled. Every sacrifice rushed back to me. Every shift. Every meal skipped. Every Christmas alone. Every check signed. And now he wanted me to erase my own pain. I asked quietly, and if I don't? His silence stretched. Then he said it. Cold. Clear. Then we are done. No more holidays. No more visits. When we have kids, you will not see them. So choose. Apologize to Chloe or lose your son. The words landed heavy. An ultimatum. My dignity or my son. For 60 years, I would have chosen him. I would have crawled through fire for him. But that night, something shifted inside me. I felt steel where once was dust. I felt my spine straighten. He wanted me silent. He wanted me erased. I could not do it. I see, I said slowly. You have made yourself clear. So you will call her, he asked with relief. I will give your ultimatum the thought it deserves. I kept my voice calm. Goodbye, Mark. Before he spoke again, I hung up. The silence returned. But this silence was different. It was sharp. It was powerful. It was mine. I did not cry. The tears were gone, burned away by clarity. He thought he held the cards, but I knew better. The game had changed. He had no idea I was about to flip the whole table. The next morning, I woke early, made black coffee, sat on the porch swing. The air smelled of rain. Birds chirped in the trees. For the first time in years, I felt something strange. I felt free. Mark thought I would crawl back, beg forgiveness, take the blame. But he did not know what it feels like to reach the edge, to decide enough is enough. That night, I opened a notebook. A yellow legal pad. I wrote a list. Everything tied to them. Joint savings account. Car loan. The house deed. My will. I underlined the page. Then I wrote one word. Sever. It was not revenge. It was survival. If they wanted me gone, I would give them their wish. Completely. No money. No safety net. No strings left to pull. They wanted freedom from me. I would give them freedom. And I would take my own. That night, I slept. For the first time in months, I slept heavy, dreamless, certain, resolved. The morning after his call, I brewed strong coffee. Dark roast black, no sugar. Steam curled in the air. I sat on the porch swing. The wood creaked under my weight. The October wind was sharp. I thought about his words. Apologize or lose him. Support his wife or be erased. A lifetime of sacrifice reduced to a bargain. I stared at the trees. Leaves fell like confetti. For decades, I carried him. I carried Bill's debt sorrow. Now he carried nothing. And I carried the blame. That morning, I felt something new. Not just anger. Not just grief. I felt resolve. I made a list. A yellow legal pad. The pen pressed hard. Joint savings account. Car loan. House deed. My will. Every tie between us. Every chain that bound me. Every string they pulled. I would cut them all. The next day, I called a lawyer. Her name was Mrs. Albright. Her office above a bank. Second floor red brick building downtown. I drove my old Chevy, parked out front, walked in steady. The waiting room smelled of lemon. I sat in a stiff chair, held my purse tight. When she entered, I stood to shake hands. Firm, grip, sharp eyes, gray suit. She said, "Tell me everything." I told her the story. 60 years raising a boy alone. Every job, every check. The wedding, the birthday. The toast that cut me. The ultimatum that broke me. She listened without interrupting, then leaned back. You are right to act. Let us untangle this. The first step, the joint account. Mark and I shared a so-called emergency fund, but 90% was mine. My inheritance, my savings. I signed papers, closed the account, transferred every dollar to a new account in my name only. The sound of the stamp felt like thunder. Click, seal, done. The first door closed. Second step, the car loan. 2 years ago, I co-signed. A shiny SUV with leather seats, satellite radio big enough for 5. They said it was necessary. I signed then. Now I would not. Mrs. Albright drafted a letter. Formal, precise, clear. I would be removed as co-signer. They had 30 days to refinance. If not, the car would be repossessed. I imagined Chloe's face, her fury, her shock. But that was not my concern. I signed the letter. Another chain broken. Third step, my will. For years, everything went to Mark. The house, the savings, my pension. I had dreamed he would raise his kids in this home. I had dreamed they would gather here on Christmas mornings. But dreams change. He had chosen a life without me. So I rewrote my future. My estate would skip him. Skip Chloe. Instead, it would go to grandchildren. Not in their hands. Not in their control. A trust fund. Managed by a neutral trustee. Available only at 25. College tuition, first home, a safety net that bypassed greedy hands. It was justice. It was love for children not yet born. Love without strings. Fourth step, the house. This house held memories. Mark's first steps across this carpet. His first birthday party in this kitchen. His first Christmas under this roof. But memories cannot pay for peace. This house was also a cage. I needed a new life. I told Mrs. Albright, I want to sell. She nodded. Then let us begin. That evening I called a realtor. A woman named Susan, friendly, efficient. She walked through the rooms, measured the square footage. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1-acre lot. She said it will sell fast. The market is hot. I looked at the walls, the photos of Mark. Baby teeth, smile, graduation cap, wedding tuxedo. I boxed them quietly. Not with sorrow, but with finality. A week later, a for sale sign stood in the yard. Red, white, bold letters. Neighbors slowed to stare. I waved politely. Said nothing. Each step was heavy. But each step was mine. I felt control return to my hands. For too long, I bent and broke. Now I stood tall. At night, I lay in bed. For years, sleep had been shallow. Dreams filled with worry. Bills, debts, loneliness. But now I slept deep. No fear. No guilt. Only certainty. Every morning I brewed coffee. Sat on the porch swing. Watched the sun rise. And thought this is what freedom feels like. Mark and Chloe expected me to beg. Expected me to crawl back. They had no idea. I was not begging. I was building. A life without them. The legal papers piled. The realtor's calls came. Strangers walked through my living room. Admired the hardwood floors. Praised the backyard. I watched from the porch. Silent, steady, calm. I was no longer just his mother. I was Eleanor Grace, a woman reclaiming herself. Each document I signed was a declaration. I exist. I matter. I choose me. It was not revenge. It was not cruelty. It was survival. It was dignity. And it was overdue. When the sale closed, I would leave this town. Maybe the coast. Maybe North Carolina. A condo near the ocean. Morning sun, sea breeze, new neighbors who knew nothing of my past. For the first time since his father died, I felt like I had a future. Not tied to him. Not tied to her. A future of my own. The planning was quiet. But the storm was coming. Because once they learned what I had done, their world would shake. And I was ready. I was not afraid. I was the thunder. The first sign came on a Tuesday morning. My phone buzzed. Unknown number flashing. I answered cautious. A sharp voice screamed, "Is this a joke?" I recognized Chloe instantly. Her tone cut like glass. "The bank called us. You cannot just walk away. You cannot remove your name. We will not be approved. You are ruining us." I held the phone quiet, listened to her fury, then said, "I am not your safety net. Handle your own car." Click. I hung up. Minutes later, it rang again. This time, Mark's number. I let it go to voicemail once, twice. On the fifth try, I picked up. "Mom, what are you doing?" His voice was panicked. "Chloe said the bank called. They said we could lose the SUV. And Susan from next door said there is a sign in your front yard. Are you selling the house?" "Yes," I said calmly. "I am selling. The joint account is closed. The car loan is yours. I am done carrying you." His breath caught. "What, you cannot do this. That house is ours. That account is ours. No, Mark. It is mine. My name. My money. My deed." He shouted, "You are punishing us." "For what?" "For defending my wife." "No," I said softly. "For failing to defend your mother. You chose silence. Now you live with it. That includes financial independence." I could hear Chloe in back. Her voice shrill like a siren. She is bitter. She is vengeful. She is ruining us. Mark returned, his voice breaking. "Mom, please stop. We can talk. I'm sorry, okay? I should have said something. But please do not sell the house." The apology sounded hollow, not born of love, but of fear. Fear of losing support. Fear of losing security. "It is too late," I said. "An offer has been made. The papers are in motion. My new life is waiting." "What about me?" he cried. "What about your son?" I closed my eyes. "You told me I was not family anymore. Not unless I bowed to her rules. I will not bow. I will not bend. You made your choice." He begged again, but my heart stayed firm. "I love you, Mark. But love does not mean I erase myself. I choose peace. I choose dignity." I ended the call, blocked his number, blocked hers, blocked every friend who tried to guilt me. The next weeks were a blur. The realtor called. Showings, inspections, offers. I packed boxes, labeled each carefully. Kitchen, bedroom, living room. 30 years in cardboard. At night, I found old treasures. Mark's baby blanket. His first sneakers, size 5 toddler. A photo of us at the county fair. Cotton candy in his hands. Gap-toothed smile. I sat on the floor, held that photo. Tears slid down my face. I whispered, "Where did you go?" But then I placed it in a box, sealed it tight, because memory was not enough to keep me trapped. The house sold fast. 3 weeks on the market. A young couple bought it. Newlyweds teachers excited for a first home. They loved the porch swing. They promised to care for the garden. I signed the deed, watched them smile, and felt no regret, only relief. Mark tried again, one letter in the mail, his handwriting shaky. Mom, please forgive us. We need you. We cannot do this alone. I am sorry. I read it twice. Then I noticed, at the bottom in smaller writing, please send us money for the mortgage. I laughed aloud, a deep belly laugh. It was never about me. It was always about need. Need for my wallet, not for my love. I burned the letter, watched the flames curl, watched the ash scatter, felt my heart lighten. Soon the movers came. 2 strong men loaded the truck. Boxes stacked high, furniture wrapped in blankets. They carried out my life, piece by piece. My sister drove up, helped me pack dishes, handed me tissues, said you are brave, you are doing right. I hugged her tight, grateful for one ally. When the last box left, I stood in the doorway, looked once more at the empty rooms, heard echoes of laughter, footsteps of a boy, the voice of my husband. I whispered thank you for shelter. Goodbye. Then I locked the door, slipped the key into the realtor's hand, walked away steady. I drove east, 3 hours to the coast. A small town in North Carolina. Salt air filled my lungs. Waves crashed on the shore. Seagulls circled above. I signed papers for a condo by the ocean. 2 bedrooms, balcony facing sunrise. No mortgage paid in full. Mine, completely mine. That night I sat on the balcony, coffee in one hand, ocean breeze in my hair, the sound of waves like a lullaby. I whispered to myself, you did it. You are free. Mark and Chloe were far behind, struggling with bills, struggling with each other. I had heard through my sister. Their marriage was cracking. Without me to blame, they turned on each other. But that was not my burden. I had given enough. Now I gave to myself. And for the first time in 60 years, that was enough. Life at the coast began to settle. I joined a book club, met women my age, widows, retirees, grandmothers. We laughed over novels. We shared coffee at the local diner. They asked my story, why I moved, why I lived alone. At first I hesitated. Then one evening I told them. I told of the birthday, the speech that cut me, the son who stayed silent, the ultimatum that followed. Their eyes widened. One woman shook her head. My daughter tried that. I told her no. You were right. Another leaned forward. My son's wife is just like that, always trying to erase me. Stay strong, honey. You are not crazy. You are not alone. Their words washed over me. For years, I thought I was the problem. But hearing them, I realized I was part of a pattern. Mothers erased so wives can dominate. It was not just me. Then my sister visited. She drove down in her Ford truck. 4 hours on the highway. She hugged me tight. Eleanor, you look better. You look alive. We sat on my balcony. Waves rolled below. She told me news about Mark and Chloe. They are fighting, she said. Chloe is furious. She wanted your house. She told people it should have been theirs. When the sale went through, she lost control. I sipped my coffee. Let the warmth steady me. My sister shook her head. At the birthday, I wanted to scream. The way she spoke to you. It was evil. Everyone saw it. Everyone knew it. Mark saw it too. He just refused to act. Her words hit hard. I was not imagining it. Others saw. Others judged. It mattered. Weeks later, I received a letter. Not from Mark. Not from Chloe. But from a cousin. She had been at the party. She wrote, "Eleanor, you handled yourself with more grace than anyone I know." We all saw what she did. We all thought Mark would speak up. When he did not, we lost respect for him. I want you to know you were not alone. You were the victim, and you stood tall. I cried reading it. Not because of pain, but because finally someone put it in writing. I had witnesses. I had truth. Months passed. I grew stronger. Then one afternoon, I heard children laughing on the beach below. Two little boys built a sandcastle. Their grandmother watched. We chatted casually. She asked where I was from. I told her Ohio. Her eyes widened. "Ohio," she repeated. "My daughter lives there. Near Columbus. Her kids are in preschool. Her husband works in finance. His name is Mark." My chest tightened. I froze. She described him more. Tall, dark hair, crooked smile. It was my son. Her daughter's children were my grandchildren. Children I had never met. The woman continued. She did not know I was the mother. She said my daughter complains a lot. Her mother-in-law is stubborn, she says. But honestly, from what I hear, it is the wife who causes the storms. She wants control. She pushes everyone out. I bit my lip. My heart pounded. She looked at me. "You look pale. Are you okay?" I nodded slowly. "Yes, just the sun." But inside, I was spinning. Another voice confirming what I knew. Even strangers could see the truth. That night, I sat on my balcony. Ocean breeze cool on my face. I whispered, "So they are real. My grandchildren, living without me." Tears blurred the horizon, but mixed with sadness was a strange relief. If they grew up, they would hear stories, not just from their mother, but from others, neighbors, teachers, friends. They would piece together the truth one day. I wrote a letter, not to Mark, not to Chloe, but to those children. I tucked it away in the trust fund papers. It began, "I am your grandmother. You may not know me, but I loved you first. I loved you enough to fight for your future. Even if I could not hold you in my arms." That was my judgment. Not revenge. Not bitterness. But legacy. A voice louder than theirs. The third-party voices grew. From friends, cousins, strangers. Each one a witness. Each one a stone in the wall of truth. I was not erased. I was seen. And one day, those children would see too. One quiet morning, the mail arrived. A stack of envelopes tucked under my door. Bills, flyers, catalogs. And one letter from my old bank. I opened it slowly. Inside was a copy. A request for change. Someone had tried to add Chloe's name to my account. The request was denied. My name only was on file. But there it was. Her signature big and bold. She had tried to claim my money. My stomach turned. My hands shook. I read it twice. The bank clerk had written a note. Denied due to missing authorization. File kept for records. She had tried to steal what I saved. Not just my car, not just my house, but my lifetime of work. It was not paranoia. It was proof. I called Mrs. Albright. she answered briskly. I told her everything. She said calmly, "This happens often. Control is the motive. Do not doubt yourself. Keep that letter. It protects you." I folded the paper, placed it in my desk, next to the trust fund file, next to the letter for my grandchildren. That night, I sat on the balcony. Ocean waves below. I whispered, "So this is who she is. This is the truth." Days later, my sister called. Her voice was sharp. "Eleanor, you will not believe. I ran into a neighbor. She told me," Chloe bragged. "She said your house should have been hers. She told people she almost had the papers signed." My sister hissed, "Everyone sees it now." She wanted your property. That was her goal. Not family. Not love. Just ownership. I gripped the phone tight. My chest ached. But it was not shock. It was clarity. The mask had slipped. The truth was bare. Chloe had never wanted me included. She wanted me erased. She wanted my son and my assets. Nothing else. The twist cut deep, but also healed, because finally I knew it was not me. It was her greed, her hunger for control, her thirst for power. Weeks later, another envelope arrived. This one from the realtor. Inside was a copy of Chloe's voicemail. She had called the office. She left a message. She demanded they stall. She said the house should transfer to family only. Do not sell it to strangers. This is my house. The realtor laughed. Played it for me. Said she has no authority. She is desperate. Do not worry. I smiled bitterly. So there it was. Proof in her own words. She wanted my house. She wanted my life. And she thought she could take it. I told the realtor, let her scream. Let her beg. That house is sold. I am free. That night, I poured a glass of wine. Red sweet from a local vineyard. I raised it high. To truth, I said. To freedom. Because the twist was not only her greed. The twist was my strength. She thought she could destroy me with humiliation. Instead, she revealed herself. She destroyed her own mask. Soon the gossip spread. My cousin called again. Said people are talking. They know Chloe tried to sign your name. They know she wanted your house as hers. It is not hidden anymore. I thanked her quietly, hung up the phone, sat on the balcony, listened to the waves, and felt peace. For years, I doubted my mind. I wondered if I was too sensitive, if I imagined the slights. But this letter, this voicemail, these witnesses showed the truth. I was not crazy. I was not bitter. I was not wrong. I was right. And the world knew it. Chloe lost the mask. Mark lost my trust. And I gained something priceless. Validation. The twist was not a tragedy. It was revelation. The world saw her. The world saw me. And in the end, that was justice. After the truth was clear, the silence grew deeper. No more letters. No more calls. Mark stopped trying. Chloe stopped screaming. They disappeared from my phone. At first, it stung. 30 years of closeness gone in weeks. A son I raised like the air I breathed, now gone like smoke. But silence can be a gift. The ocean spoke instead. Waves crashing, seagulls calling, wind rushing through palms. It became my new family. I walked the beach daily, 2 miles barefoot in sand. Seafoam kissed my ankles. Shells glittered like jewels. Children laughed nearby. Strangers waved hello. It was simple. It was healing. Each morning I brewed coffee. 1 cup black. Sat on my balcony. Sun rose gold and pink. Salt air filled my lungs. I whispered, "This is enough." But consequences remained. My sister kept me updated. "They are drowning," she said. "The car payments overdue. The mortgage heavy. Without your money, they are slipping." I listened quietly. Felt no joy, no revenge. Just distance. They chose their path. I chose mine. I remembered his ultimatum. Apologize or lose him. But the truth was, he was already gone. The boy I raised, the man I trusted, had vanished long ago. So I faced my choice. To chase him or to chase peace. To beg for crumbs or to bake my own bread. I chose peace. I chose dignity. I joined a pottery class. Clay soft in my hands. Spinning wheel humming. I shaped bowls, mugs, vases. Fired them in kilns at 1,000 degrees. Strong, lasting, useful. Like me. I joined a walking club. 5 women all over 60. We marched along the pier. Counted our steps. 10,000 a day. Laughed when we reached it. Celebrated with ice cream cones. I began writing letters. Not to Mark. Not to Chloe. But to grandchildren I might never hold. I filled notebooks. Stories of their father. Stories of their grandfather. Stories of me. I sealed them in the trust fund box. So one day they would know me. Not from gossip. Not from lies. But from my own hand. The consequence was losing him now. The choice was saving them later. I could not stop Chloe's cruelty today. But I could protect her children tomorrow. And that was enough reason to live. Neighbors grew curious. They invited me to dinners. Cookouts with hot dogs and potato salad. Church picnics with sweet tea. Bonfires on the beach with guitars and marshmallows. I laughed again. I danced again. Barefoot in sand hair whipping in wind. I felt young even at 61. The consequence was family lost. The choice was life regained. I mourned what was gone. But I did not cling to ashes. Mark made his decision. He chose her. I made mine. I chose me. That was the trade. That was the truth. And it set me free. At night, I still dreamed. Sometimes of him. Sometimes of a boy with gap-toothed grin, running through sprinklers, calling Mom, watch me. I woke with tears, but I let them fall. Because grief does not mean weakness. It means love. And I would rather carry grief with dignity than carry shame with silence. That was my choice. And I did not regret it. A year passed quickly. Seasons turned one by one. Winter storms crashed the coast. Spring painted flowers in dunes. Summer brought tourists and laughter. Fall cooled the air crisp. My condo felt like home. The balcony, my throne. The ocean, my choir. The sun, my faithful clock. Every morning it rose right on schedule. Every evening it set with colors that healed me. I made friends in town. We met for bingo nights. Shared peach pie at diners. Danced at the VFW hall. We planted a small garden behind the library. Tomatoes, beans, herbs. We called it our patch. Children came to learn. We taught them to dig, to water, to wait. Peace became routine. Joy became possible again. I laughed more often. I slept more soundly. I lived for myself. But justice has its rhythm. even without my hand. One evening my sister called, her voice steady, not rushed. "Eleanor, you should know. Chloe is facing charges." I sat straighter. "What do you mean?" "She forged signatures, tried to claim property. Not just yours, her own parents too. They pressed charges. It is going public." The words sank deep. So it was true. Her hunger had no limit. She wanted everything. And now it caught up with her. Mark was dragged in too. His job suspended him. Neighbors whispered. Friends distanced. The perfect image cracked. The empire of lies crumbled. I listened quietly. Then I asked, how is he handling it? My sister sighed. He is broken. He looks older than Dad. But still, he defends her. Still, he blames others. He has not learned. I nodded sadly. My heart ached, but not for Chloe. For Mark, the boy I knew. The boy with cotton candy smile. But choices have weight. And his weighed heavy. That night, I sat on my balcony again. Waves rolled steady. Moon hung silver. I whispered justice came. Not by my hand, but by truth itself. I closed my eyes, felt gratitude wash me. Because I had chosen peace instead of poison. And peace carried me here. Months later, news spread further. Chloe pled guilty. Community service ordered. Fines imposed. Her reputation shattered. No more galas. No more staged perfection. Only consequences. And me. I baked cookies. Shared them with neighbors. Read books on my balcony. Tended tomatoes behind the library. Laughed with friends on bingo nights. Life was simple. Life was mine. I never saw Mark again. Not yet. But sometimes I imagined a knock. A tall figure outside. Head bowed, voice trembling. Mom, I was wrong. If that day comes, I will listen. I will hear him. But I will not erase my boundaries. Because love without respect is not love at all. Until then, I keep writing letters. For grandchildren I may never meet. Pages of love. Pages of history. Pages of truth. So one day they will know. Grandma fought for them. Grandma loved them first. I end each letter the same. With love, your grandmother Eleanor. Now when I wake, I feel no dread. I feel no fear. Only calm. Only freedom. So this is my story. A mother who lost a son. A woman who found herself. A life rebuilt at 60. Proof that it is never too late. If you are listening now and you feel unseen, if you feel erased, remember this. You are not powerless. You can choose yourself. You can write a new chapter. If you believe in dignity, if you believe in peace, give this story a like. Subscribe to this channel. Share your boundary story in the comments below. And answer me this. What would you choose? Family that drains you, or peace that heals you? Think deeply, because one day the choice may be yours.